Hello everyone, and welcome back to another honest review by the Joy of Pro Wrestling Network. I'm your host Mark Ross, and today we are discussing WrestleMania 38, Sunday, Night 2 of WrestleMania 38 in Dallas, Texas at the AT&T Center. Night 2 was in front of 78,453 fans, so about 1,000 more than there were in Night 1, according to the WWE's count of attendance gate at the event. The show is pretty hard to top what they did in Night 1, so let's see what they got for Night 2. Triple H starts out the show. Of course, Triple H announced about a week or so ago that he would no longer be in-ring wrestling because of his health. So we all wish Triple H the best, and it's sad to see the game end, but all good things come to an end, and Triple H has had one hell of a career, and he'll go down as one of the greatest. His heel work back in the early 2000s with his Reign of Terror, with the World Heavyweight Championship, him and Flair. Those were some of my favorite years watching wrestling, and I love going back and watching that stuff in the early 2000s with the game, Evolution. But Triple H, in my eyes, will go down as one of the greatest. I'm actually putting together a list of greatest wrestlers of all time, and trying to do that without bias and look at all the statistics for what goes into that and all the criteria. But Triple H reaches a lot of that criteria, and I believe I had him at I think he was in the top 15. Can't remember what exact number. I don't believe I have it written down anywhere right here, but one of the greatest ever. One of the greatest heels of all time. You just hated him, but you loved to hate him, and he did a lot of great work in NXT in the last 10 years with all the newer talent, and it was sad to see him getting the shape that he's in now, the health that he's in now, and not seeing the NXT that he created. It's kind of been washed away and started over, but sad to see Triple H go. Hopefully we won't see the last of him, but no more legendary matches at WrestleMania or anything like that for Trips. So but he starts out the show and he lays his boots down in the ring, signifying that he's done. He's leaving his boots in the ring, and he walked away. So good start to Night 2 here. A little emotional start there. But first match of the night, RK Bro versus Alpha Academy versus Street Profits. So we got a triple threat for the Raw Tag Team titles. And RK Bro, of course, they retain. They continue their championship run with them titles as one of the top tag teams in WWE. Randy Orton always shows out at WrestleMania, and Matt Riddle, he's soaking it all in. He's going to be, if he's not already, he's going to be a big superstar one day. Match number 2, Bobby Lashley. Omos, about a week ago, he had a handicap match with the Viking Raiders, and I can't remember which one was in there with him, and he had beat the crap out of one of them and injured one of them and throw him out of the ring, and they couldn't continue the match because he beat him up, and then Bobby Lashley, he comes out and he's like, pick on someone your own size, but Omos was 2 times the size as Bobby Lashley. seeing them two compared to each other when they stand in the ring is crazy, because Bobby Lash is just this humongous beast, but standing next to Omos, he looks small. But he gets the win against Omos. But we saw on Raw there that Omos wants his rematch, and looks like MVP is double cross Bobby Lashley. You know, I guess that story's for another video, but Bobby Lashley defeats Omos at WrestleMania. Third match was Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn in an Anything Goes match. This match had a little bit of everything. All the Jackass members were involved. Most of them in the movie were involved. They had everything from stunts to surprise flying fists outside of the ring, to mouse traps, to human-sized mouse traps, which that's what Knoxville eventually won by pinfall, when he trapped Sami Zayn in the mouse trap and got the pin and defeated Sami Zayn. So that was a fun little WrestleMania moment. It was kind of crazy, but it's just a piece of the craziness that was WrestleMania 38. This was just an insane WrestleMania, I thought. We go on to match number 4. Carmella and Queen Zelina are trying to retain their women's tag team titles against what looks like a fatal 4-way here. Naomi and Sasha and Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley have a team, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. And Naomi and Sasha look to have a dynamic together, and they're pushing them, and they of course beat Carmella and Queen Zelina for the women's tag team championships. Next match, Edge versus AJ. This match, in my opinion, I know they're two great workers who can have a great match, but sometimes that can backfire. And I kind of felt like throwing them in a match would backfire, trying to force a big WrestleMania moment. I'm not sure if it backfired, but it didn't. The match didn't, to me, have the impact that Edge versus AJ should have had at WrestleMania. But with everything else at WrestleMania going on, I guess it didn't hurt either one of them any. But Damian Priest causes a distraction, and Edge is able to pin AJ Styles and beat him. So it looks like Edge and Damian Priest have sort of formed this unholy trinity, this unholy alliance. So we'll see where that leads. Damian Priest has just kind of been on the back burner, I think, since he lost his United States title. But hell, that title's been put on the back burner. You see what they're doing to Finn Balor right now, not using him, and didn't even put him on WrestleMania. No championship match for the United States title at WrestleMania, which was a big bummer to me. But anyhow, so Edge defeats AJ Styles. Next we had Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch, and they defeated the New Day and Kofi Kingston, or with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. This match was I thought it was ended rather quickly. I think there's legitimate heat between these guys from the injury, the Big E injury, and it looked to me like Xavier Woods really gave Ridge Holland a pretty good kick in that match toward the very tail end of the match, like really stiffed him. But kind of like, for here's what you get for hurting my buddy. You shouldn't even be out here wrestling me at WrestleMania. But which You know, that's another story for another video. But Ridge Holland's been, I guess, on a hurt. He's been hurting people. But anyway, something I forgot to mention was the New Day came out dressed like Big E, and in Big E's like outfit, his wrestling gear. They were dressed like him to, you know, I kind of like, you know, Big E, you can't be here, but you're here in spirit. So I thought that was kind of cool. But it seemed like they were taking shots at Ridge Holland in this match. Xavier Woods, I'd mentioned in the last video that Xavier Woods was in a pre-show interview with Kofi Kingston before night one, and I think that this match was scheduled for night one, if I'm not mistaken. I'd heard that it was, but you know, they were asking him about the match later on, you know, that he was supposed to have, and Xavier Woods was like, you know, yeah, we're getting ready to wrestle Butch, Bitch, and Botch, or, you know, we're getting ready to go out there and fight Bitch, Botch, and Butch, as, you know, Butch, Botch is Ridge Holland, and Bitch would be, I guess, Sheamus. But I don't know if anyone took offense to that, if he was supposed to say that or whatnot, but it looked like some legitimate heat to me. But shortly after Xavier Woods kicked him, that match was over. I'd have to go back and look at it again, but something happened really quickly while somebody wasn't watching, and then the match ended. And they, you know, Sheamus and Ridge Holland gets the win with Butch. And I'm sure their fighting isn't over with. I don't know who's to blame for that Big E, you know, when Big E broke his neck there, but I don't know if it was just a freak accident or just, you know, Ridge Holland being green or just being too big for his own britches, trying to pull that move off, you know, outside the ring, but on a guy like Big E. But who knows? But I guess the WWE still has faith in him, so he gets a win at WrestleMania anyhow. Break someone's neck and get a win at WrestleMania. So now this is where it gets crazy. The seventh match of the night, Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. And of course, the story behind this is Austin Theory is Vince McMahon's protege, and Vince McMahon's been putting a lot of interest and money and time and effort behind this kid, and he wants him to be the next superstar, you know, or the next guy to take the company into new levels, new heights in the universe, you know. But Austin Theory, you know, he's a very young talent, and very he's all this kid's already got it, you know. He already understands the business, what he needs to be doing, what his roles are. So Vince McMahon, 2 or 3 weeks out from WrestleMania, or maybe a month prior to all this, Vince McMahon goes on the Pat McAfee show and does a pretty kick-ass interview. You know, Vince McMahon doesn't really ever do interviews or shoots or anything like that, and he's went on the program, the Pat McAfee show, to, you know, promote WrestleMania, and he invites Pat McAfee. You know, he's already going to be there doing his job as a commentator, which he's been one hell of a commentator. He's added a lot of life to SmackDown and all of WWE, really. And you'll see here soon that, you know, he adds a lot of life to this WrestleMania here. You know, this was pretty crazy. So Pat McAfee gets invited for a match by Mr. McMahon at WrestleMania against Austin Theory. And So Austin Theory, he's been coming out during, Pat McAfee's trying to work, doing his job at the commentator booth, and he's been like coming up and slapping the shit out of him and slapping the headphones off of him and mouthing him and running off and ducking and dodging McAfee. But McAfee gets his time against Austin Theory here. He gets his chance, this big WrestleMania moment. Austin Theory comes out with Mr. McMahon, and Pat McAfee comes out with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and they lead him to the ring, and to the music of Seven Nation Army, the White Stripes song, and everybody's singing along and doing the oh 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 oh, that's a pretty catchy tune there. But you got 77,000 people doing that. This is a huge deal for Pat McAfee. They did a program before it started about how he's always dreamed to be a wrestler and this and that, and this is his chance. And there were times when he was out there, it kind of looked like he was a bit overwhelmed by but I believe that he was soaking in every moment of it. And that's what wrestling needs right now, is guys like Pat McAfee that love this so much and that are passionate about the product that they're giving us on a weekly basis. And Pat McAfee adding the flavor he does to SmackDown, it keeps us entertained, and it keeps us wanting to watch, what's going to happen next. And this match right here was full of what's going to happen next moments. So Pat McAfee, Austin Theory, they're having just a hell of a match. For Pat McAfee to be green, I know he had a match against Adam Cole, but for him to be green, I know he's trained a little bit, but for him to really honestly be green out there in front of that many people on that big of a stage and perform the way he did was amazing. And Austin Theory too, he's out there with, Austin Theory, he gets the business. He understands, they're putting, I know McMahon was out there, but they're putting a lot of faith in Austin Theory to go out there with McAfee and do that. So, but they have a pretty good match, and there's this spot. Oh my gosh, the match had me, from beginning to all the way to the end. There was a spot where they were wrestling up on the ring post on the turnbuckle, and McAfee was getting him in the superplex position, and I was thinking, there ain't no way in hell he's gonna do this. He's gonna superplex him. It's WrestleMania. Maybe he will, but he doesn't, and he does like this backflip and lands on his feet, and I'm like, I just lit up. I'm like, oh my God, I know it. He's gonna jump back up there and do it. And he jumped back up there on the top rope and got in the superplex. I was like, oh man, boom. Big, gigantic superplex on WrestleMania. Oh man, it was awesome. I jumped out of my chair. And I watched this match the next day. I didn't even get to watch it live, but it was awesome. But, so, Pat McAfee gets the big win over Austin Theory. So Austin Theory, he lets Mr. McMahon down, and Mr. McMahon's out there. He's like, well, how the hell could you do this? Why'd you let him beat you? Am I going to have to, is that old man going to have to show you, and Pat McAfee's like, yeah, old man, get in the ring, get in the ring. And Michael Cole's out there really selling. He's like, don't do it, Pat. It's not worth it. He's like, I know you're getting caught up in the moment. Just don't do it. You're making a big mistake. And, while he's saying that, Mr. McMahon's, undoing his tie, everything, getting ready to take his shirt off, and then he's like, "Come on," he's like, "No, you ain't worth it," and he starts walking off, and he goes, he turns around, looks back, takes the rest of his suit off, and he's got his black wife beater on, his black gym shirt, his Mr. McMahon 1999, and I was like, this old bastard, he's gonna get in the ring and wrestle, and he's 76 years old. I full of surprises. I was like, there's no way in hell Stone Cold is wrestling a match. All the rumors, all the dirt writers, whatever, said. I was like, there's no way. And he did. All the wires of the news were crossed, mixed wire, the wires were crossed about the news, but he ended up he did have a match, Stone Cold did, and there were rumors that Mr. McMahon was going to wrestle Pat McAfee, and like, there's no why would he do that, and just like, but damn it, he did. He's having a match. He gets in that ring. He's Mr. McMahon again, and he's clotheslining Pat McAfee, and he's just, Pat McAfee's already been spent from the match he's just had, and McMahon's just, beating what's left out of him, and stiff clotheslines. Like I said in my last video, if you've ever been punched or hit by an old man, they hit hard, and this old man was clotheslining him, and some of the videos from the people that were there, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty cool seeing that they've captured that. There's videos of McMahon going around the clotheslines and this and that, and then he has the football. Austin Theory grabbed a Cowboys football and he had it, and I think he acted like he was going to punt it out to the crowd, and he's like, ha, no, I'm just joking. And he looked at Pat McAfee laying there, already down, down and hurting, couldn't get up, and he punts the football right in his stomach, and gets the pin and defeats Pat McAfee, and Vince McMahon wins at WrestleMania. It sounds silly, maybe the way I'm talking about it, but it was very awesome. It had me on the edge of my chair. It was a good way to try and top and compete with the night one. It was a very, very awesome moment. McMahon out there, even, all the people involved in this WrestleMania did a hell of a job, and they put their bodies on the line. And that's even the guys in NXT. Grayson Waller, I believe, got hurt, putting his body, like, I mean, I talk shit about high spots and shit, but he took a pretty good bump in that match, and it really added, his injury added to the match. He gave his body for WrestleMania, and so did all these celebrities like Logan Paul. Man, he's out there looking like a real wrestler. Stone Cold's almost 60, out there wrestling. Vince McMahon's almost 80. They're out there doing it. Who else? Johnny Knoxville and all them guys. I mean, they got a good payday, but they're out there doing it, man. WrestleMania, they went big this year. So now we're ready for the big title match. Roman and Brock unification. I guess that's what if they want to call it that. But the match was nothing really, I thought, to be like to rant and rave about either way, good or bad. It's another Brock versus Roman match. You get, what are you going to expect? But I liked the engagement in the match itself. I like the psychology that was in the match. There toward the end, because Roman, he couldn't beat Brock, and he was trying to cheat. Let's see what happened. there was a moment where the ref got thrown in the turnbuckle, got knocked out. The ref's knocked out, and then he gave Brock a low blow. Paul Heyman throws him the title belt, and then he has the title belt. Bam! He hits Brock in the face with it, and he gets the near fall. 1, 2, and Brock kicks out. So he's cheating to beat him, and he can't do it. And he's like, Brock's got him injured. His arm's injured. And he's like, help me, Paul. And Paul's like, I beg of you, my tribal chief. He's like, you've got to suck it up. You've got to do it. He's like, you have to do it yourself this time. You've got to dig deep. And damn it, he dug deep, and he beat Brock Lesnar, and he proves again that he's the head of the table, tribal chief, the needle mover, God mode. He's all that. And I don't see anybody taking that title from him anytime soon. He's the champion as long as he wants it. Because I was thinking about this. We're in a weird time era of wrestling. Wrestling has its peaks and ups and downs, and but we're in like a 1970s Bruno Sammartino era, if that makes sense. So in the 90s we had Stone Cold, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Mankind, The Rock, Sting. We had Lex Luger, Kevin Nash. We had all these greats, but now who's great? It's Roman. They're like, what's the difference between being good and great, or God mode? And Roman is the standard bearer now. And back then, there was nobody that could take that title from Bruno. And that's why he was the man all them years. So Roman's the man until somebody can step up, Brock's the only person right now that can really do that. Roman beat Goldberg. Who else is going to beat, who's going to give him, Cody's back. So let's see how his story plays out. He's wanting to run at the title. But he's not there yet, I don't believe, to be in that situation. You don't want to bury Cody right away. So who's gonna be the person to to take that from Roman? I just don't see anybody doing it. Anybody a big enough name to take that from him, and he might be champion for another year plus, maybe even another 500 days. Only time will tell, and we shall see. But WrestleMania 38, I give it 2 thumbs up. It looked kind of stale and bland at the beginning on paper. All the matches, everything happening. I look forward to a couple things. Cody coming back. The Seth Rollins match was what I was most interested in. And of course Brock and Roman, but those didn't even, beside Cody coming back was huge, and Roman winning was huge. But Stone Cold wrestling another match, Vince McMahon, all that was just fantastic. So we'll see where we go from here. WrestleMania is over, and that's the end. And every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And WrestleMania 38's come and gone, and now we're on the road to WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, and that's a long road ahead as well. So so we'll see what happens. So stay tuned to the Joy of Pro Wrestling Network for more videos like this one. Subscribe if you haven't yet. You know, if you've made it this far, please like the video. If you haven't, drop a comment. Let us know what you thought of WrestleMania 38. What was your favorite moment? You know, if you didn't get to check out go back through the playlist or go back to my channel and check out WrestleMania 31 Night 1 review. Also on the playlist. I've added to the WWE playlist on the channel. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Peace. Forgot to mention, after Vince McMahon's win, Stone Cold came down and gave everybody stunners and drank a bunch of beer.